back to the QST YouTube channel. Today I'll be explaining the Term 1 Week 10 Math CA quiz. Let's go. The figure above shows the function of a cubic function f. Which of the following could be the equation of this function where k is constant? First, let's figure out the x-intercept, which is at -3. So we can easily eliminate this because that means it will intercept at 3, and this as well, same thing. Now why this is wrong is because if it was just x plus 3 cubed, it would be something like this, and this would be -3. Okay, which is why this is the answer. Number 2. A lab technician has 2 points diluted that he will dispense in an identical cylindrical test tubes having each a radius of 1 inch and height of 4 inches. The technician fills each tube with diluted acid up to 85% of its capacity. Given that 1 point is about 25 cubic inches, what is the maximum amount of test tubes that will be able to prepare? Okay. First, let's find the volume. They said that the height is 4. Let me change another color for STP. Okay. So they said the radius is 1 and the height is 4. Volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. R is 1, h is 4, so the volume will be just 4 pi. Okay, so they said we need to know the number of test tubes to fill in two points of the acid. So 1 point is 29, so 2 points will be 58, is equal to, they said the technician fills each test tube with diluted acid up to 85%, which is 0.85 times 4 pi times the number of test tubes. I'll just call it T. And then you're gonna plug this into the calculator. So 58 is equal to 0.85 times 4 pi times x, which will give us 5.43, which is 5. Number 3. Which of the following is true about the function given by y is equal to f of x is equal to 8x over x squared minus 64? Okay, now here they want the asymptotes. Now look, for the vertical asymptotes, I'll call it VA, we take what makes the denominator 0. So x squared minus 64 is equal to 0. We can rewrite x squared minus 64 as x minus 8 times x plus 8. So that means the root will be x is 8 and so yeah, x is 8 and x is equal to -8. X is equal to 8 and -8. Okay, and now for the horizontal asymptote, it's really easy. So now let's zoom in and let's see. To find the horizontal asymptote, we're gonna do the term of the highest power at the top minus the term of the highest power in the denominator. Okay, so if the power, which I'll call n, in the denominator I'll call d, is greater than the one in the numerator, n, that means the horizontal asymptote is 0. If it's the other way around and the numerator is greater, that means there is no horizontal asymptote. There will be an oblique asymptote, which we will discuss later in this quiz. And then, if they are equal to each other, that means horizontal asymptote is a constant. Okay. So as we can see, the power in the highest power in the denominator is higher than the greatest power in the numerator. So that means the horizontal asymptote will be y is equal to 0. Number 4. Which of the following is true about the function y minus 3x squared minus 6x cubed? Okay, to find this, all we're gonna do is we're gonna take the term with the highest degree, which is negative 6x cubed, right? Okay, and now we're gonna substitute a positive number so we can simulate if x goes to positive infinity. So it will be negative 6 times 1 cubed, which is negative 6. Which means y will go to negative infinity as x goes to positive infinity. And then let's substitute by a negative number. Negative 6 times negative 1 cubed will give us 6. Which means as x goes to negative infinity, y will go to positive infinity, which is what we have here. Number 5. The function of the curve C is given by y is equal to x plus 3 over 2x squared minus 6x minus 20. Okay, so they only want the vertical asymptote. So you just do what makes the denominator 0. So 2x squared. All you need to do is modify 3 to begin with. So you're gonna plug in 2, negative 6, and negative 20 once you do modify 3, which will give you 5 and negative 2. Which are the answers. Number 6. The function for the curve C is given by y is equal to 3x plus 1 over 5x squared minus 2. First, let's eliminate some choices. Okay, we can't actually. But we can if we find the horizontal asymptote. So again, the horizontal asymptote, we're gonna do 3x over 5x squared, which will give us 1 over x, meaning the power in the denominator was higher than the power in the numerator, which means y is equal to 0 is the horizontal asymptote. But now, they're asking about the oblique asymptote, which okay, I'll actually explain it now. Do we have an oblique square is equal? By the way, sorry, I mentioned this, but we don't have an oblique asymptote because the power in the numerator is lower than the power in the denominator. So that's it. Y is equal to 0 is the horizontal asymptote. Number 7. Given the following sign table for the first and second derivatives of y is equal to f of x, which of the following is true? Okay, now look. To find whether if it's a maximum, minimum, saddle, first we need to know the conditions. So for it to be a stationary point, which means local minimum, local maximum, or saddle, that means that the first derivative should be 0. Okay, which is why this is not the answer, because 0 doesn't make the first derivative 0. Let me just erase it. Okay, the curve has a saddle point at -3. It doesn't, because -3 has a local maximum. Sorry, local minimum. It has a local minimum. Right. -3 has a local minimum. Correct. And 3 is a local maximum because it goes up, then down, and y prime is 0. So maximum at 3. Okay. The curve is not an inflection point at x is equal to 0 because it does not change signs. Look, here it stays positive when the double derivative, when x is 0, the double derivative does not change sign. So this is wrong, this, and then we already said why these two are wrong. Number 8. Wait, did I skip a question? Okay, consider the number 8. Consider the curve C represents the graph of function given by f of x is equal to x minus 2 squared, x times x plus 10. The derivative of that is equal to 3 into x minus 2 times x plus 6. Okay, so for this we're just gonna need to draw the table of variation. The roots are -6 and 2. Write it in chronological order. So and then this is y prime and y. So first of all, we're gonna do substitution, because if we distribute x into, like after simplifying x minus 2 squared, which includes x squared, it's gonna be cubic. So we're gonna do substitution. So first let's take a number before -6, -7. -7, and that's a positive number. And then a number between -6 and 2, let's take 0. That's a negative number. And then greater than 2, let's take 3. That's a positive number. So let's see, it's increasing when x is less than -6 and when x is more than 2, but it's decreasing when it's in between -6 and 2. F of x has a local maximum at x is equal to -6, and its value there is, okay, so when they ask you and its value there is, you substitute, let's say in this case -6 in the original equation. They're basically asking for y. So you're gonna do -6 minus 2 squared into -6 plus 10, which is 256. It has a local minimum at x is equal to 2, which we found in the table of variation, and its value there is 0. Now we move on to number 9. This is genuinely one of the most annoying questions, because like there's another question like this and it's really really long, but okay, let's do it. Consider the function y is equal to f of x is equal to 5x to the 4 minus 4x cubed. Select the, let's move on. The domain of of definition of f is all real numbers, as there are no like exceptions like radicals or fractions with x inside. Okay, now as x moves to positive infinity, y goes to. So for this, for part B, we're studying the behavior. So to study the behavior, we're gonna take the term with the highest power, which is 5x to the 4, and substitute it with a positive number, in this case 1, which will give us a positive number, which means as x goes to positive infinity, y will go to positive infinity. Then let's say we do negative 1. Since the coefficient is positive and the power is even, that means it also goes to positive infinity. Now we're gonna, for part C and D, they want us to do the derivative, so I'm gonna put y prime here. So let's do the first derivative so we can find the table of variation. So after deriving, we will get 20x cubed minus 12x squared, right? And then you're gonna equate it to 0. So 20x cubed minus 12x squared is equal to 0. That will give you 0 and 0.6. Now let's do the table of variation. 0, 0.6, y prime, y. Then again we're gonna do the, what's it called, substitution, as the equation is cubic. We have x cubed. So we're gonna take a number less than 0, negative 1. So instead of x, we substitute it by negative 1. Which will give us negative 32, which is a negative number. And then a number between 0 and 0.6, I'll take 0.5. That's also a negative number. It will give you negative 0.5, and then a number greater than 0.6, so you substitute x by 1 and you get a positive number. So we have a saddle point at x is equal to 0 and a minimum at x is equal to 0.6. And then for the inflection point, we're gonna have to derive, where is it? We're gonna have to derive this again. So we're gonna get 60x squared minus 24x. Equate that to 0. You get 60x squared minus 24x is equal to 0. You'll get 0 and 0.4, which is what we have here. Then the y-intercept, you substitute x by 0. When it's the y-intercept, you substitute x by 0, which will give you 0, 0. And then for the x-intercept, you substitute y by 0. So you're gonna do, you can factor it actually. You can do x cubed into 5x minus 4, and then you figure out what makes it equal to 0. And then, now that we're done with that, we're gonna graph it based off what we got from part A to E. Okay, wait. So we got a saddle point at 0, and we said it's always going up. So this is eliminated. We said from what we have here, did we have anything with the negative numbers? No. We didn't have a minimum, a maximum, or anything. So this is eliminated, and this is eliminated as well. Alright. Yeah. And then that will leave us with one more option, which is this one, the right option. Number 10. This was the hardest question that I was talking about. But once you this question, they want us to consider the function y is equal to f of x is equal to x minus 1 over 2x plus 1. The domain of the definition is equal to. Okay, so to find the domain, we know that we have an exception here, like a restriction, which would be like a variable in the denominator or a radical, which in this question we have a expression with the variable in the denominator. So to find where it's not equal to, we're gonna make the denominator equal to 0. 2x plus 1 equal to 0. You get x is not equal to negative 0.5, which is the answer, which would also be the vertical asymptote. And then to get the horizontal asymptote, we're gonna do x over 2x, which will be 1 over 2, which is gonna be the horizontal asymptote. Okay. Now look, for C, you can simply substitute, like, this is basically the behavior for C. So you can substitute x by, let's say, I don't know, let's take negative 1. It will give us negative 2 over negative 1, which is a positive number, which means it's always increasing. Now for the concavity, we're gonna need to derive twice, which for me was the most annoying part of the question. So for part A, that would give us 2 into x minus 1, sorry, negative 2 over 2x plus 1, all of that squared. Then now we can, okay, for part C they want us to double derive and find the concavity, but to double derive we're gonna need to do the first derivative. So we're gonna need to do the product rule. U is x minus 1, u prime is 1, v is equal to 2x plus 1, all of that to the negative 1. And then v prime would be negative 1 into 2x plus 1 to the negative 2 times 2, which would be negative 3. Negative 2 here. Negative 2. So we're gonna do u prime v, which is 1 over 2x plus 1 plus u prime v plus v prime u for product. I basically took 2x plus 1 up and made it to the negative 1. So we're gonna do plus negative 2 into 2x, negative 2 into 2x, oh my gosh, Let's get the eraser. V prime u. So negative 2 times x minus 1 over 2x plus 1 squared. This is 2x. And then we're gonna add these two together. Oh my gosh, I hate deriving. So 1 plus 1 minus 2x plus 2. Oh wait, I didn't even simplify. Sorry. So 2x plus 1 minus 2x plus 2 over 2x plus 1 squared, which is equal to 3 into 2x plus 1 to the negative 2. And then we're gonna do chain rule. So negative 6, wait, yeah, negative 6 into 2x plus 1 to the negative 3 times 2, which is negative 12 over 2x plus 1 cubed. X plus 1 cubed. Now that we found this, and this, we're gonna need to find if it's concave up or concave down. So we're gonna take a few numbers. Let's do a table. Negative 0.5, then this is undefined. Okay, y prime and y. Sorry, y double prime and y. So we're gonna substitute by numbers that are less than negative 0.5. So let's say negative 1. So negative 12 over 2 times negative 1 plus 1, all the denominator cubed, which is a positive number. And then let's take, by the way, sorry, like if it's more than, like if the answer you get is gonna be more than negative 0.5, then it's gonna be concave up. And then the other way around as well. So let's take 0 in this case. It will be negative. So, sorry, it will be less than negative 0.5, which means it's concave down. So if it's less than negative 0.5, it's concave up, and if it's more than negative 0.5, it's concave down, which is what we have here. And then the y-intercept, we're gonna substitute x by 0 in this equation. So we're gonna get 0 minus 1 over 1, which is negative 1. And the x-intercept, we substitute y by 0, and we cross multiply, we get that x will be equal to 1. And then we use all of that information to get our graph. Okay, first of all, we said that the vertical asymptote is at negative 0.5, is that x is equal to negative 0.5. and the horizontal asymptote is that y is equal to 0.5. So let's eliminate the ones that are touching it, like this, and this. And they said that the vertical asymptote is that x is equal to negative 0.5. Wait, what? Yeah, okay. They said the vertical asymptote is at x is equal to negative 0.5. So this is touching it, and this is approaching it, so this is the answer. Very annoying question. Number 11. Select the correct option from each of the following, drag and drop. The domain is basically we have a restriction, so we take whatever makes the denominator equal to 0 as what it cannot be, so x cannot be equal to 1, which means that's the vertical asymptote. Now we have the oblique asymptote. We are back. So what we're gonna do is, let's simplify the 1 up, so x squared minus x minus 6 is equal to 0. Yeah, we won't get anything that we can simplify. So what we're gonna do is put 1 here, and then we're gonna put the coefficients of what's in the numerator. 1, negative 1, negative 6. What we're doing now is synthetic division from grade 10. Gonna add 0 here, we're gonna add 1 here, because we added 1 and 0, which will give us 1, and then we're gonna multiply diagonally. 1 times 1 is 1, negative 1 plus 1 is 0, then 0 times 1 is 1, 0 times 1 is 0, then negative 6 plus 0 is negative 6. We don't care about this as this is the remainder. So the equation will be y is equal to, this is the coefficient of, like, we're making a linear equation. Y is equal to ax plus b. A is the first number, b is the second number, so y is equal to x is the oblique asymptote. And then the graph of f is, now, since we found out that the equation of the oblique asymptote is y equals to x, this also means that the equation is always increasing. This is something you have to memorize. It also applies to the equation itself, like if it's positive ax, like that wouldn't be needed. Like it will always be increasing. For the y-intercept, we substitute x by 0 and we will get 0, 6. And for the x-intercepts, we substitute y by 0. Cross multiply and we get negative 2 and 3. And then using that information, we're gonna have to translate it into the graph. The intercepts are at negative 2 and 3. We eliminate this. And then for the y-intercept, we check. It does not intercept when y is 6, so we choose this one. Number 12. The curve C has a vertical asymptote at, okay, come on, this is easy. For the vertical asymptote, we check what makes the denominator 0, so x would be 6. The oblique asymptote. Now look, do not get this wrong in the exam, because you can simplify. Like here we can do 2 into x minus 6. Then for the numerator we could have 2 to 4x squared plus 6x, and these twos cancel out. It's very important that you don't make this mistake, because if you don't do that, you'll get this wrong. And then you're gonna do the synthetic. So we're gonna need 6, 4, 6, 0, and then 0 here. You're gonna have 4. Wait. Oh wait, sorry, it's 3 here. It's 3. My bad. Forgot to divide by 2. 3x, and then here it's 3. Then here 4 times 6 is 24. Then this is 27. This we don't care about. So it will be 4x plus 27. Now we move on to number 13. Okay, this one there's a really easy method. For A, you're just gonna do the volume times 2, which will give us 6912. And then for part B, you're gonna divide this by 2, so 6912 over 4, sorry. And then you're gonna cube root that, so the cube root of 6912 over 4, which will give you 12. Number 14. Okay, now look, this is really easy. If volume is 2000 pi, 2000 pi is equal to pi r squared h. We need h alone, so h is equal to 2000 over r squared. Then you're gonna substitute that in this equation, which will give you 2 pi r into 2000 over r squared plus 2 pi r squared, which will be equal to 4000 pi over r plus 2 pi r squared. And then you derive it to stay 4000 pi, and then you keep it the same, and then you just get at r, and then you just find out when the derivative is 0 what is r. And then for the last part, wait, they said the minimum, so that means it's concave up. So if it's concave up, that means that the double derivative is positive. Number 15. Okay. The volume V of an open box with the square base side x is 810 centimeter cube, so on and so forth. Since we said it's a square base, so the area of the base would be 9 squared, which is 81, and the height we'll just do 810 over 81, which is 10. Number 16. This is really easy. For this one, just memorize. It's gonna be 30 minus 2x squared into x. You're gonna get 900 minus, wait, all of that times x minus 120x plus 4x squared. You distribute that x, so you're gonna get 4x cubed minus 120x squared plus 900x, and then you're gonna derive this into 12x squared minus 240x plus 900. You're gonna get two numbers after you make this equal to 0. You're gonna get 5 and 15. 0, 0, then you're gonna do SOS, same, opposite, same. They want the maximum, so that will be the when x is 5, and that will be it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I wish you guys the best of luck in all of your exams, and goodbye.